Even more fabulous mother love, and I'm test driving out new looks and what have you. And so this is my Jean Pierre. Uh, she's the speaker. She's the White House press secretary, and I think she's doing a pretty decent job coming in cleaning up a crap show. Nonetheless, it's the even more fabulous mother love coming to you live and in living color. It is good to have you with us. People who say it never rains in California. Crocodile, it is raining. It's been raining all day. I know it's going to rain. See, when you get to be a certain age group, I'm in the season of the group. I don't tell people I'm a senior citizen. I'm trying to get my queen straight. I don't tell them that. I tell them that. See, I guess it just went on. But anyway, I wanted to try this one out and see. And let me tell you who surprised me the most about this hairdo. My husband. And when I got it, I said, he is not gonna like it. He said, oh, that's the one I like. Men are so temperamental. And he could really care less what kind of hair I have. That's how come I know this day he loves me and I love him dearly. And I look, you gotta love it in the first place, because what are you gonna do? I'm here for you. I am the Nefertiti of the needy. I am the defender of the tender. And we know how so many people are just not doing well. And it seems to be getting worse and not better, even with the advent of the internet. And we can get, we can be in close proximity on all of these different platforms. And it just is, up in my craw that we are not getting along and doing what we need to do collectively as a community. And this is another thing I found out. People that live in California, born in California, I love you to pieces. Oh, I love you. You all cannot drive in inclement weather. And this rain that we're having now, they call this inclement weather, and they tell people they have to tell people don't drive your car in a flood. And if the area looks flooded, don't try to run. And they don't know how to turn into a spin. And that's what you do. And some people, that happens, and they just panic. And that's what we need you not to do, is panic. That's when you got your best foot and you got to say, okay, I can do this. I won't drive through this puddle. I won't, because your car will get stopped. And if you keep trying to get it out, your car will get waterlogged. I remember one time living in Ohio, it seemed like it rained straight. I'm talking about like not this. It was pouring. Then I can handle the rain. The problem with the issue that I have is with the lightning and thunder. And that's what it happens out here, but rarely do we get lightning and thunder. But we can get rain, and people will live on top of the hills. And I've seen houses during mudslides just slide right off a house, right on down the hill, and slide into somebody else's house, right on down the hill.
There's
right on down the hill. Hey! Why? Oh, wait.
Oh my God!
Oh, that's my Okay. All right. Okay, wait. Okay, can you tell? Listen, but I bet you this. I bet you we can pick up right where we left off.
We do, but I got to turn my volume up, girlfriend. A little louder.
Am I talking too loud?
Okay, coming loud and clear. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't talking louder. And me not talking loud. Ladies and gentlemen, this is someone I absolutely love. And she is just the sweetest, the nicest. They'll run herself, and she doesn't run herself in the ground, but she got 15 jobs. I know she got some Jamaican in her blood, because it's Jamaicans. We can work 15 jobs at a time, and we do them
That's
all.
right.
Oh, before I even get into you, you know who I want you to tell me. How's Papa doing?
Oh,
How
he's
is
doing
that?
great. He's doing great. Let me just turn off my alarm here. All my things are going on. He's been having a steady decline, but we're so grateful that he continues to perform well and stay joyful. I push him in his wheelchair once a week on Sunday to church.
Oh, wheelies!
Yes.
I'm coming to see him. I'm coming to see him. And just
I hope you do.
Yes.
He still for those that aren't familiar with our story, my dad's been battling skin cancer and bone cancer and prostate cancer, and then he got Alzheimer's, and then he beat COVID twice when he was 85, 86, 87 years old.
And he's still
9
rocking.
and a half now. We had a huge birthday party with my son's engagement. We had a big party in my yard here in the Los Gatos area, and my dad was there. We danced, we sang New York, New York, and you know, he still loves his Frank Sinatra songs. I'm telling you. Yeah.
That is so wonderful. This is my friend, Denise O'Brien. She is a world traveler. She is a business owner. She owns a company called, I know, Dome Consulting LLC. You got Denise O'Brien Movies and Entertainment. You're the co-founder of the California, I can never say this word right.
Safari.
Yeah, that one. That one. If it comes out of me, it's going to come out for sorry.
Yeah.
And my sister used to come up to me, say for sorry. And they would say the word.
Okay.
You know,
wait, I have to comment on the Queen. I love you. I want that. I have to have that Queen shirt. You know, I'm the Queen of Joy. I need to have that.
Shut up. Don't stop talking. Stop talking. I had a kid, my grandchildren I always say my grandchildren like they don't belong to their grandfather. the kids gave it to me. And I said, oh, that's really sweet. What made you pick Queen? The kids almost said in unison, because you're the queen of everything.
Yes, you are. I'm going to add that to my title, Queen of Everything. I'm going to start hashtagging it for both of us.
Oh, no, you can't do the Queen of Everything. I already got it.
Yes.
That's it. You know, because when you think about it, it can be for a lot of people. And I don't just accept Queen for myself, even though I do accept Queen for myself, because I want to be treated like a queen. I deserve to be treated like a queen. And they know when the queen ain't happy,
nobody's happy.
It's my girlfriend, Denise O'Brien. So fill us in and what you're doing, Denise O'Brien. I know she travels around the world. You still up in Silicon Valley. Okay, you tell them.
Oh, well, gosh, I don't even know where to start. The one thing I just want to say is thank you for reaching out. I haven't physically seen you or brought clients to you in, I think, 8 years now, because I moved up here 8 years ago. I'm in Silicon Valley, and I moved to take care of my dad. I mean, we already studied that. So my mom was kind of done, and I said, Mom, I'm coming. So I left my baby, who was in high school, and I moved, up here. She stayed with her father, and I moved in with my parents, and I started taking care of my dad. And then after a few years of that, my mom's like, you guys talk too much. I need you somewhere else. So we moved out. She just, needed her space, and we moved to a kind of a special facility where I basically drove him every day to adult daycare, and I was able to run my companies from Silicon Valley on my laptop. This is before COVID, and just do my thing and travel when I needed to. My siblings are all here helping, but I was physically overseeing my dad's care. And then he fell and broke his foot right before COVID in December 2019. We had to put him into a special Alzheimer's home because I couldn't lift him or bathe him or do anything. My brother was helping me with that. And then COVID hit, and that is when everything changed. So when COVID hit, 18 people in the home he was in died the first week. And my dad is the only one that got COVID that didn't die. We got him out to a hospital and then a rehab. And I visited him every single day, and I had a little bar stool outside the window, and I'd bring my mom's dog, Lucky, who's just a little, Lhasa Apso, and we would sing, we would pray, and I was meeting there were other people doing the same thing, as we all know, looking through screens, looking through windows. I was speaking Spanish to those that couldn't speak English. I was singing to those of a different faith that didn't understand our prayers, our Christian prayers, and I just made a lot of friends there. And my dad eventually got out of the rehab and back into his facility, but unfortunately they didn't rehab him properly, and he is now paralyzed from the waist down because he couldn't breathe, he couldn't walk. They put him into that 14-day quarantine too many times that he forgot, basic skills. So the good news is his joyful spirit is still there. And during that time, I was able, when we were all on lockdown, to start taking care of some of these people who I was meeting at the window and other friends' dogs. And I was missing my daughter. I was missing my son, my dog. I just started taking care of dogs, and I invited my daughter, Brittany, who you might remember had a traumatic brain injury. And
wait a minute. See, as bubbly as she is, and this is like straight no chaser, and you always have an upbeat personality. You always find the good in wherever the situation was. With your daughter, when she was, we didn't know what was going to be her deal. She got okay. Don't let me tell the story. Okay, her daughter got hit by a bicycle. Okay, you tell the story.
Oh yes, she got hit by a bicycle by an 80-year-old man just around the corner from our house. And I've traveled all over the world telling this story now. It's 13 years later, but it is such a miraculous recovery. End of the story now. It took many years, but the good news, I have my tissues just in case.
Oh,
It's one of those things that, when you find somebody dead in the street and it's your daughter and you don't even know it's her for a second because there's a bicycle and a body and you just don't know what to do. But I got out, I prayed, I laid over her. I looked up, it was right in front of a little church. There were 10 or 20 little boys from the Boy Scout troop waiting for their dads to pick them up. Everybody was looking, watching. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is my daughter. This is my baby. And I won't get into the graphic details, but the good news is that I just started praying and I put my thumb in her mouth to give her like a passage to breathe. And she clenched down on it. So I knew she had come back to life from the former 5 minutes that she was, not moving. And she just had this like, her breath came back into her. I can't describe it in a short story, but that's
this is Denise O'Brien's time. Oh no,
oh gosh,
through this.
It was,
said who I was. You know good and well I'm not going to let you rush through anything, because what you do and what you have gone through is so important to not just your family, but to the world. And the fact that when you first saw who was your daughter, what was the first thing that came to your mind? Was that she was going to be well? Did you know that? Because prayer does change things.
Yes. My first thing was I can help her. I'm her mother. And I literally leaned over her body and I just started screaming, "Mommy's here, mommy's here, mommy here." This is when she was dead. And this guy came over to me, one of the fathers that was on the curb, and he's like, "Don't touch her, don't touch her." And I will never forget this. I had my elbow and I elbowed him and knocked him back into the street. And I said, "I'm her mother." He was trying to tell me just to let the body lie there until, the ambulance comes. I'm like, no, I'm not going to be doing that. So I elbowed him out of the way. I said, "I'm her mother." And that's when I put my head down on her chest. She wasn't breathing. She wasn't moving. And that's when I looked up and saw the white cross. It was 8:30 on a June evening, dusk. The white cross was lit up. And that's when I thought, oh, God can help me here. Like, a human being, I can't fix this, but God can. And then I immediately just laid my head on her chest and started praying. And that is when her breath came back into her body. And then blood was everywhere, the size of a large pizza, her nose. But I put my thumb, I still have the scars on my fingers because she was like, and then I was like, I'm going to keep her mouth open until something happens. And then thank goodness, eventually the ambulance and the fireworks, but it took them 13 minutes to get there, the fire department.
And what if you had not have been there? I couldn't even imagine not being there for your child, but you were there. Talk about how, they say a lot of accidents happen, pretty much right around where they're coming, right around their home.
Right.
Right.
Right around the corner. It was a block away. I sent my daughter, my little baby, who's now 20, was in the car with me. He was 7 at the time. I said, "Go call daddy, go call Evan, get the family." And she went to the curb and borrowed somebody's phone. And they called, we called her dad and we called my son, who was able to get over there on his bicycle while we were still laying in the street with the whole scene going on. And then I was able to get, into the ambulance and know that my baby was okay with her brother. That's how close it was to the home.
See, and
He
people
was on her way home from acting class, and I had just picked up my daughter, the baby, the 7-year-old. They were both singing in the TV show, the Broadway show Annie.
How about
they were at rehearsal, and my older daughter rode her bike home, and my other daughter came in the car because she was 7, and that's how my older daughter was ahead of us, and that's how this all happened in a matter of seconds. But it was life changing, and as you said, when there's an accident, you just don't know what the other side of it is. And we've been 13 years post this miraculous recovery, and I've encouraged my daughter to share her story. She doesn't like to share it, but I do because it's my caregiver story.
Right.
And the care. So she was in the hospital for 40 days. Of course, the doctors told her she would probably die that night, and if she did ever live, she'd be a quadriplegic. She wouldn't be able to move her legs or her arms. They gave us all the
Bad news.
Dire things. They put like a little thing in her head to like keep track of her. They removed her skull. I mean, she had 80 staples in her head. They removed her skull, and she was in the hospital for 40 days with no skull, on life support, in a coma. That was at the beginning of the most miraculous international prayer group that could have ever existed happened, because one of my friends put it on some social media, and then it was in the newspaper, because Brittany used to sing the national anthem every year at the local parade. So she was on the front page of the paper a week later, her little photo, and everybody in the community was praying for her. And then the newspapers came, and then NBC and CBS, and it's all the newspapers channels came to the hospital, because there I was with my rosary beads, praying with 30, 40, 50 people a day were coming to the hospital. All her acting friends, all of her acting coaches, her teachers, all my friends from church, all my children's friends. It was such a beautiful prayer of recovery that definitely happened. And I never gave up hope, not one time.
See, that is not in our DNA. Mothers don't give up on their kids. Even I don't care what kind of crazy your kid is going through. You don't give up on them.
That's
now,
right.
tell them now share the real praise report about her, about your.
Well, after all of that, she was 40 days. She literally got up and walked out, not the 39th or the 41st, but the 40th day. She got out of the hospital and walked. She refused taking a wheelchair. They made her in the wheelchair. We walked out. We scheduled all kinds of rehab and therapy and everything. But she only went to 1 or 2 appointments for her physical therapy, her rehab therapy, all the speech therapy, because she was miraculously perfect. She had no skull. She had to wear a bicycle helmet for 7 months, but yet she was physically all there in the most miraculous way. And then 7 months later, she had a craniectomy, or where they replace, it's a different name, the craniectomy, when you take the skull out, and another one when you put it back in, cranioplasty.
I didn't know.
And she went back into the hospital 7 months later, and it's very rare that they don't have to put a titanium plate in. They had her skull in the freezer for 7 months, and then they put it back in. And then she had the 80 staples in her head, and she came out of the hospital with obviously a shaved head, no hair, and then she began her new life. And it was those 7 months, it was a craziness, that I can't explain. My whole life was on hold. I was running 4 companies. I gave up all of my businesses just to, take care of Brittany and my baby, who was 7, and my son, who was in the middle of it all as well. My son, Evan, who just got married last week.
Congratulations,
Evan.
Yes. Make us feel bad. Do not, man. If I need to talk to your wife, you just let me know. And if I need to talk to you, you just let me know. Because that is wonderful. Oh, please give them a big hug and kiss them.
I will.
Oh my God, I didn't get my invitation in the mail.
Yeah, we had such a beautiful time.
No, I don't.
Well, fast forward to Brittany going back to college. She was able to go back to UC Berkeley. 9 years later, it took her. She was able to get her degree in religious studies. I mean, we both went through this near-death experience, which I do talk about, being by her side from the minute she died to the near-death experience to going to the hospital. I never left the hospital, maybe once a week to shower when the doctor was like, you need to take a break.
Get a little right there.
I know.
Right? We got you, baby, but you need to go home and, get a shot.
Yeah. I went home very rarely, but when I brought her home, we still had a lot of work to do. We still had massive amounts of work to do, but she did all the work. She made a miraculous recovery. There were many challenges, of course, but she overcame all of them. And she, 3 or 4 years later, made a decision to get back to college. She got her degree in religious studies in 2019. And this is the biggest miracle. She decided to live up in Santa Clara County in the Bay Area, where I am here in Silicon Valley. So here I had my whole family in Southern California, but my parents, my dad that I was taking care of, and Brittany, we were, getting her through her challenges. And now she lives here, and we started a business together. And it's just been this incredible love story with dogs, which is just in addition to
and look at that, Watchdogs founder and CEO.
Yes, Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I've never seen it.
I
So
want-
there you see Brittany and Brennan. That's my
Wait a minute, this is making a debut on the Mother Love Show.
This is making a debut. I have never, this is not on any social media. I don't even have a social media account.
I know, I found that out.
Okay, this is breaking news that we have.
Dun, dun, dun,
Oh my gosh, let's get a drum roll. So this is breaking news on the Mother Love Show. I cannot even tell you how exciting this is, because for the last 4 years, my daughter Brittany and I have been doing this. Then we added my daughter Brennan. She did it in Silicon Beach when she was at college at Loyola Marymount. My mom, I had to get her. Then I brought my nieces and my sister-in-law, and our business, without any social media, without any promotion whatsoever, without business cards. I just designed these business cards because when you're out walking dogs, people meet you and they like, oh, do you have your number? And then you've got a leash and you're trying to like, you can't do that to be safe with the dog. So I'm like, I better put some cards together. So here we are. We have over 175 families that we take care of their pets right here in the beautiful Bay Area with Atherton, Palo Alto, Los Gatos, Montecito, Campbell, San Jose, just a beautiful group of wonderful, fabulous people that we are in such demand that I had to bring on like another 5 people. And I'm still looking for more fabulous women. It's an all women business, all women run. Very excited.
That is wonderful. And this is because of your love, you guys' love for dogs. And you just
This is because of our love for dogs. And during COVID, Brittany and I were both home and we were like, what are we going to do? And I just took care of one dog, and then my mom took care of one. And then I'd say, oh, Brittany. And then Thanksgiving came and I had like 10 families that wanted us all the same weekend. And so then I trained the other team members, and Brittany, who loves dogs. We've always had dogs. We raised golden retrievers in our home, and we also bred golden retrievers when my kids were babies. And, the kids have been around dogs all their lives. So it was just a natural thing. But who would have thought I would have left the glamorous Hollywood red carpet and all the things I was doing, and I would be wearing, a flannel shirt and comfortable shoes to be walking dogs along the Los Gatos Creek Trail and meeting like 10 more clients while I was out there.
Okay, I got a question. So now that you have do you keep the dogs or you just service the dogs?
So that's such a good question. So if you look at the very top there, it says house sitting, pet sitting, boarding, dog walking. So what we started was just walking dogs and house sitting when someone was out of town and they needed some help. And then some people have been asking for boarding, because some people go and spend $200 or $300 a night in a hotel for their dog. There are many companies that have services, which I won't mention all the names, but I thought, there are people that want.
Wait, we only know one, Silicon Valley Watchdog.
That's right, Silicon Valley Watchdogs. All those little cuties are our clients. I had my graphic designer draw our favorite clients. I know, there's Gracie and Gus and Moose and Pepper and
must be Moose.
Yeah, they're all there. But the boarding has come, and I'm just going to put it out there right now. My dream now is to buy a bigger house where we can board more dogs. There is another company up here that's doing really well doing that. And I don't have enough space to have as many dogs as I would love to have. And you have to have licenses and things. So that's my dream this year, is to get some investors and to buy a bigger house, upscale. And, I've been thinking about it since the new year, like what's my New Year's resolution or goal? And that's kind of what it is. And then you called and I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. I could have the opportunity to debut Silicon Valley Watchdogs.
So this was on purpose. But you had never seen the posters? That's funny.
No.
So also, when you're going through this extremely traumatic family event, and you're taking care of your dad, you're taking care of your daughter, and both of them have separate special needs. How does Denise keep her wit and keep that joy?
That is such a great question. I have such a wonderful support system. I have my sister and my brothers, up here, and my parents have 11 grandkids. I have nieces and nephews. Mm-hmm. But during COVID, it was really hard, because during COVID, none of us were around each other, obviously, but we were especially careful because of my dad, because of his health. that we couldn't hug each other or touch each other I didn't give anybody a hug for like 2 years. I
Okay.
didn't touch anyone for 2 years. 2 years.
And that can get to you, especially when you're especially when you're an extrovert and your energy comes to you and you give your energy to other people.
Right.
And that could be I know some caregivers that, love their mothers and love their fathers, but, like literally it broke their heart to have to put them in a facility. But
exactly.
After a while, you can't pick them up. You don't know what's going to hurt. You don't know if you're going to hurt yourself, and I've seen it, really drain people, and one of the ladies that I know, her husband was in hospice. He was not supposed to, he was, hospice is for people that, are going to pass away.
My dad's been on hospice for 2 years, in and on hospice for 2 years. And it's just a miracle, like every day that he's still with us. They took him off all his meds, all his many drugs that were keeping him alive. And he's still here. He's still with us. And he still smiles when I walk in the door. So I know about the hospice. It's so hard.
One of my friends was supposed to be there from 3 to 6 months. So he was there for, first it turned out to be like 6 months, then it was a year, then it was 18 months. And we would go up almost every weekend to see him because he was up in Santa Barbara.
Well, that's nice.
He had a rare lung disease and they wanted to give him a lung transplant. And he said, no, I don't want a lung transplant. I don't need that. I live my life as I wanted to, and I will die on my own terms. And he did, even though he was in hospital almost 3 years. They tried to put him out, but they didn't know who he was.
That's right. That is absolutely right. I actually have my brother's father-in-law, the same thing. And I'm so grateful because of the near-death experiences that I went through with Brittany. I had been around a lot of things. And when he had a diabetic problem and they basically said, you need to cut off your leg or you'll die, he said, I'm not going to cut off my leg. I'm going to go to heaven with both legs. Wow. So he decided, he was in his late 70s, one of my dad's best friends that I took care of kind of with, we had breakfast every day at the facility where I lived with my dad. We were with Dan. And so my sister-in-law, I said, can I just come, say goodbye? And she's like, well, we don't know. He might last another week or two. He's in in a special care facility. Here's the address. Can you come while we go visit with the mortuary? My brothers and sisters and I are going to be gone for 1 hour. I said, okay. So I showed up. I was, I had a little angel. In fact, it's kind of an angel like this little one right here. I had a little angel like this, and I had a feather, which I have feathers everywhere in my office. But anyway, you know what a feather looks like. And I brought this little feather and this little angel, and I sat with him. He's a very large, big man with huge, big hands. And he was on his last days. They thought maybe he might be there a week, but they didn't know when. Mm-hmm. So I went in the room and I had my rosary beads, and I said, it's okay if I pray. I know he's Catholic. We'll pray. I start praying with him, and he had just been there with his eyes shut for many days. And they just said, whatever you want to say. So I gave him a hug from my dad because my dad couldn't be there. I told him my dad loved him. I told him I loved him because we lived with him in the same facility for 4 years. Mm-hmm. I put the angel in one hand, the feather in the other hand, and I told him what they were and that we were just going to say some prayers. And I started praying with him. And all of a sudden, he leapt out of the bed, went up, up, like he was like this. He went up and opened his eyes, the biggest blue eyes you've ever seen. I never saw his eyes that big in his whole life. Opened them up, looked up, and went to heaven right then and there, right then and there. And my sister-in-law and her sister and her brother were all at the foot of the bed, and they were like, what just happened? Like, how did that, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything. Now they know all about Brittany's story. That's my family, right? But I said, I was just merely just letting him know that I love him, that dad loves him, that God loves him. And we were just praying, and that happened. And it literally converted some of the family members and my sister-in-law so much peace, to know that, like, we know he went up. I mean, you cannot miss that. These are things that I rarely share these stories, but I mean, it just, what can you say? It's an angel. I have a little angel on my shoulder, and I'm so grateful that I have this little connection that keeps me joyful. So when you asked the question, what do I do for myself? I live my every day like it's my last day. I have no fear of dying.
Oh,
I
no.
have no fear of going to heaven or wherever I'm going to go. I have nothing but joy every single day. So if you wake up, and that's my mantra. I'm the queen of joy, beauty, and passion.
And
I'm
you
going to add the queen of everything from what you just said.
we got royalty up in this piece.
Yeah.
And you have to take care of yourself because it can be really draining. Have you ever felt like, oh, did you feel guilty when your father had to go to a facility?
I felt very sad. I didn't feel guilty because unfortunately it wasn't my choice. And
Right.
so I felt like I felt that I wasn't doing enough. I started going in there every day and playing dominoes. Back then he could still play dominoes and a few other little treats. He loves to eat snacks. So, I would just bring him a little snack. But I felt very sad that we weren't allowed to go inside and that we had to wear masks. And when you're talking to someone with your mask on, like they can only see your eyes, it's totally different. And my dad had a mask on, I had a mask on, and he had the window between him. And, like I said, that's all in the past. But for 2 years, I never gave up hope that I was going to be able to hug my dad again. And I told him that every day. And every day when I leave, every day, even now when I visit him in the facility, he's in a skilled nursing facility now, I always sing, we always sing together, "You Are My Sunshine." And we sing it together. He still knows the words and he still knows who I am. And I can't ask for any more than that.
See that, it's amazing that she was in the hospital for 40 days, not 39, not
Right.
1. Now, if that doesn't give you an absolute end to know that God is alive and real and still in the miracle making business, people, so you can.
It is.
You don't know what's going to be happening tomorrow. See, that's I've been accused of not. I live in the moment. Growing up, my mother used to say, why don't you take life serious? And I must have been about 13 or 14. And she said it like a grown woman. I said, why should I be upset about that? I ain't coming out of life alive. Why should I be serious about it? And she just threw up her hands and said, Lord Jesus, take the wheel because this child is all off. And he is still in the miracle making business. It might not have been your miracle. I mean, just like your friend, who you loved, and he had issues with diabetes. That's my platform. Because
I forgot. That's right. That is your platform. And this is an example of the miracle that God is in every hospital. We pray, we can change the world. And that is what I am talking about. Transformation in the highest degree. And I didn't realize it, in the dog sitting business, dogs keep coming and going as well. And we're losing, some of our own, little cuties that we've taken care of for 3 or 4 years. And it doesn't matter if it's a dog and my dad always asks if dogs go to heaven. He still keeps asking me. I said, the Pope said he's going to heaven. All the dogs are going to heaven, Dad.
And there's a movie out about that. When all dogs go to heaven.
That's right.
It was a movie. So in doing this and all that you do, where do you find time for Denise? Where do you go in your quiet time? Because we need a quiet space to go. I wake up and meditate every morning.
Yes.
First of all, I'm so glad God woke me up and I done pissed Satan off again. You keep it up, I'm gonna piss you off for the rest of my life. So I would just say you need to go someplace else because that's not gonna work all up in here. And so for the most part, he stays away from me because I'm God's favorite daughter.
That's right. And I wake up saying, "This is the day the Lord hath made." And
I will rejoice and
over and over and over for like 20, 30 times, like when I first wake up in the morning. And, I'm house sitting and dog sitting in some fabulous homes with the cutest little guys, but I have to get up first. I don't have my prayer time because the dogs need to go out for a pee, right? But it's such an interesting transition for me to be in all these different homes. I'm never home at my house, hardly ever. The fact that I'm even home today, you know why? The only reason I'm home today is the power went out in some of the houses. So that we've had some power issues because of the storms up here.
What did I tell y'all before she came on? People in California, you guys can't drive in the rain.
I know.
I'm like, really? How'd you get a driver's license? And I'm always concerned about people who don't understand the rules of the road, and don't understand that every time you walk out, you get in your car, you have to think, this could be a killing machine.
Boom.
That's why I stopped driving.
That's
That's
true.
why I stopped driving. Well, actually, because
Mhm.
get a few death threats and your husband go a little berserk, and
Yeah.
no, because he would always say to me, as long as you're with me, you're protected. I said, you can't use God's line. He said, yes, I can, because he the one told me to tell you that. And every time he is with me, I don't fly by myself.
Mhm.
Like I said, you get a couple death threats. And he's like, oh, I'm taking you to work. I'm coming to get you. I'm going to take you to the doctor. I'm going to take you to this. I'm like, I can drive. And he would go, yeah. And I think in the past, in between COVID hitting everybody, because I say God is God all by himself. When one of our grandchildren came down with COVID twice.
Oh, sorry.
And the first time she was a little sicker than she was the second time. And she said the second time she had it, and she's a teenager. You believe I got teenage grandchildren? I'm flipping out.
I can't believe it. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. When you're sharing about that, it reminded me, my aunt and uncle, we buried together February 2nd, exactly 2 years ago. They both died of COVID.
Oh,
And it's my dad's sister. My dad's the last remaining of the 5 kids. And I'm so grateful that your grandchildren are recovering, because when they're younger, it's easier to recover, right? But it's changed. We can talk about like the actual physical, health issues that so many people are having. But I think the bigger picture is the mental health crisis that's come from the pandemic. Let's just put it straight up. And I can't believe how different younger people are today because of that, and all the challenges that they have. And my own children, my own family, and my nieces and nephews, we have 5 that are away at college right now. And it wasn't easy for them to be going away after the pandemic and to go into what they went through. And that's one of the things I love about the Silicon Valley Watchdogs, is I was able to give everybody a job with a very cool pet to hang out with. And if you don't think that pets are therapy, they are. And every dog and cat that we take care of, and we have a few birds and reptiles as well.
Oh, so this is not just the dog. This is just
the brand is Silicon Valley Watchdogs, but we take care of a lot of homes that have 3 or 4 pets. We have one that has 2 greyhounds and 2 cats and a bird, and we do whatever the family needs. But what I want to tell you is that you keep asking me the same question: what do I do for me? Well, that's what I do for me. I get to just hang out with these dogs. I get to go to a walk along the Los Gatos Creek Trail, which people go exercise there. I just happen to have a dog with me. Little Gracie goes down with me, or whatever dog I have. Maya and Dodge live nearby, and take them down for a nice hour and a half walk, come back, have my own lunch. And then my time for me is in between the lunch and the dinner and all the walks is like from 4 to 5:30 p.m. And that's when I make myself my little hot. I made one this morning here because I haven't had time.
You can put your
hello, gorgeous. This is my chai tea.
Oh, that cup is bigger than your face.
It's a full cup. It is. But I absolutely love chai tea. And I love simple meals. And so then I cook my simple meal and I have my chai tea, and that's my time. I also took a 5-year break from social media. I was always on social media. That's how I met my clients. That's how I connected with, I was with Mary Kay for 38 years.
Yeah.
Consultant.
17 pink Cadillacs.
That's right. 17, good memory. 17 pink Cadillacs. And I trained hundreds of thousands of women, speaking in groups of, 10, 15,000 at a time. I did that for a long time, but I always had to keep looking for a new face and a new person that wanted, a makeover or skincare. That was my whole life for many, many years, was always out meeting people, getting new clients, going to a red carpet, handing out my little Dome Consulting brochure, and passing it out, with my business cards. And this is something that I put together when I was Publicist of the Year, and that little picture there. But this is how I built the dog sitting business, because all I did was I would literally take this brochure, because they were doing background checks on me. You're in these huge multi-million-dollar homes, and they would do a background check, and I would be like, here it is. I go, here's all my contact information. You can Google me. Here's my phone number, my email address, and all my social platforms. And so that's how they would know who I was.
Mhm.
So what's so great is all I did was just piggyback off of the goodwill of all the years of hard work I built with my Mary Kay skincare business, with California Safari, with Dome Consulting, with all the other companies. And one dog at a time, one family at a time, referred us to somebody else. And it just mushroomed into this beautiful thing. And it's so great. I'm so grateful that I can employ and help my family and my nieces and my nephews and everybody and anybody that I trust to be part of the team.
That has to be so. You have to
Yeah.
trust them. And people, I didn't know that people could love their animals like they do out here in California. We had a dog many years ago before we moved out here, and the dog was huge. And he was an absolutely beautiful representative for Doberman Pinschers.
Oh, okay.
So when we got him, he was like this big, right? He was this big.
Mhm.
And I said, how big is this dog gonna grow? He said, oh, well, he'll get a little bigger. The dog I called him the beast. He was, grown people were afraid of him.
Oh.
And he should have just been a house dog, or we should have got a bigger house, because we would come home. You couldn't bring people home. I didn't know that
Oh.
would be temperamental like that. And when we would leave him, and both of us worked, and our son was in school, so the dog would say, girl, we came back, all of our dirty clothes were strung at the door. And I was like, what happened? Then he beat up the front of a chair. And so we were talking to people who knew better about how a dog's temperament is. And he said, well, your dog will protect you. He said, this is what I said. And he grew to be he was such a big dog, and he was tall and masculine. He had almost a purple coat, and he had a marking right down on his chest. He was a beautiful dog, but he was just a big Marmaduke. He would come all over you, lay all over you, want to stay. I'm like, you ain't no little dog. What's wrong with you? Or sit on the couch, and he'd walk past and just lay across everybody's leg. And they're like, can we get up? I said, you would get up when you get, and I have to tell my, come get this dog, come get this beast. And he was so temperamental. So he ran out the door one time. I guess he was protesting that we left him in there. Opened up the door, and it was in the wintertime. Opened up the door, and he would run outside. Okay, I mean, run outside. I come back, no, come back. So I shut the door one time when he was on his thing. He heard the door close, and I didn't come out. Okay, he turned around and came right up on the porch.
Oh.
You're going to sit here till your daddy comes. And it was a nice porch. Don't get me wrong. I had water and dog. He never ran out that door.
So he's like your kid. People, that's a story. People in the area where I live, there's another dog walking friend of mine. And he said, we always say, when we die, we want to come back as a dog in Los Gatos, because the dogs in Los Gatos where we live are so pampered, and so they're the children, like what you just said. You treat them like they become part of the family. And the clients I just finished with yesterday, Mo and Bailey, we don't call them the pups, we call them the kids. Like when the mom and dad communicate, they're like, how are the kids doing? How are the kids doing? My cousin, family, and so we just give them so much love. So that's what we do. So my break time is to go see my dad and sing with my dad. Please. And reading, for my relaxation, I love to read. I love to watch a good movie, just something simple. And it's just a whole different life now, living up here with my family, being able to visit my mom, drop in for a meal, drop in to say hello. She's traveling right now, and she's in Greece and Spain, and she's having the time of her life right now on a Grecian Mediterranean cruise.
Why y'all didn't call me to be her traveling maid?
You know what? I will. She's always looking for someone. She went with one of her nurse friends, but I've taken her on safaris in Africa, and she's been to Peru, and we're giving my mom the traveling and the time that she feels robbed from 15 years of taking care of my dad. My mom is a hospice nurse, so she took care of dying people her whole latter part of her nursing career, but she just couldn't do it with my dad the way that she did with all those other people, because she knows what's next. She always knows what's next, and it's been really hard. It's been really hard for my mom. So I'm grateful that I was able to pick up my life and move because of the success I had in all of my companies. And I've taught entrepreneurship. And so I'm just living it right now, just living entrepreneurship. It's like Entrepreneur 101, what we're doing and how we're growing. And the compliments that we get from our clients are just incredible. And I want to just shout out to my son, Evan.
Hey, Evan.
Yeah, he's married now. For Christmas last year, he gave me a gift, because the girls have been helping me with the dog business up here. He said, Mom, you need a website. And I didn't really need a website, but I was like, okay, I would love a website. So Evan put together Silicon Valley Watchdog, svwatchdogs.com. It's a website that has the reviews from our clients and pictures of the dogs.
Okay.
And so now it is easier for me because I used to text all that to people, but now I can just send them the link. And my son made a beautiful website that just encompasses everything that we've been doing for the last 4 years.
It's good that your family is willing to work with you and that they see the vision. It's always great when you have a support system, a strong support system. And,
Exactly.
I understand that. And sometimes, some people come in and they do a great job. And, sometimes, well, for me, when I would hire people that were close to me and, my relatives and what have you, they haven't even done anything on the job. Okay, when do I get when are you gonna give a chick a check? I'm like, but you haven't done anything. This is called work. We're paying them every week. So you got to work at least a week so you can get a paycheck next week. Like, well, why I got to get paid? Why can't you just give me money? I don't chew paper and drink green ink and just go into the bathroom and roll out $100 bills. It does not work like that. And that's great. And another great thing that you're doing is hiring other women.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. They're all independent contractors, but the message is clear that if you're a hardworking person that wants to be self-employed, this is an option for you because it's so fun, it's exciting, and the number one experience level you have to have is you have to love pets. I mean, that's the easiest thing. Of course, you have to be kind and loving and organized and trustworthy, but we are like the Ritz-Carlton, or one of my team members who's also a real estate agent. She's like, you are like the white glove touch of dog sitting in Silicon Valley. The word's getting around now, and that was all without the Mother Love show. So I don't know what I'm going to do now that it's public. I don't even have it on social media. It's not on LinkedIn or Facebook. It's nowhere except for the little business card that we pass out to our clients. And that's
I got to tell you this, Missy. Yeah, that's going to be all over, but the shouting because we are on YouTube. We are on Restream. We are on TikTok. Did I say it right? TikTok. We are on X, Facebook. We're on 18 platforms now. So,
oh my goodness. Congratulations, Mother Love. I remember the days at the LA Talk Radio studio, and there we were, and now social media. And I mean, wow. I mean, you've survived through the pandemic. That's
because we were home, and I have a delicate constitution, and my husband is like, no COVID is coming up in here. So on my birthday a couple years ago, all the kids, our tradition is they can open up the Christmas present, don't open up mine, save mine for my birthday. It's 4 days after Christmas. So they literally would come over to our house on my birthday. I thought it was just for me for my birthday. And they came to rip open the presents. So our oldest son was back there in our office. And he came up and he said, he called his grandfather because they know don't give me no bad news. I can't take it. My husband can give me bad news all day long. And he said, he called his grandfather and he told him, Papa, I was with one of my girlfriends and she told me she had got COVID and I was around her. He didn't say, hey, you get off the phone, get all your stuff, get out. Your brother been exposed to COVID. He became the COVID-19 sentinel. The kids had to, when they came to the door, single file line, right? Shortest to the tallest, single file line. They got to get sprayed off with disinfectant. I don't know what he put. They had to put a mask on and they had to stay 6 feet away from me. It was like, wow, what is that about? So I understood that. So I taught our grandchildren and some of the other kids how to hug with COVID. So you put your arm behind your back, you stand back to back, and then you could touch the, because I thought I was going to lose my mind, Denise.
We went through the same thing. You know what? We did this, and we had Zoom calls every week with my kids in Los Angeles and my dad. My 3 children would be on a Zoom call with dad every week for 2 hours. And that was when he could still sit in front of a screen at the facility, at the Alzheimer's facility. But when we were done, we would always make the heart. And so that was our hug. We would go like this, air hug, heart. And so then there's my dad with his little hand. So, he would still do the heart. And that's we did that. In fact, we just did that for the last month for my mom because she did not want to get sick before this big cruise that she was going on. So
Oh,
all through the holidays, she wore a mask at church and at the kids' basketball games, and obviously visiting my dad. She wore a mask for a month so that when she left, so she could go on her trip. And then let me tell you the joy. So we made a little WhatsApp group with all the family so she can share her videos and her little pictures. To see my mom smiling for the first time in months, because we couldn't see her smile for all those months because she was so carefully wanting to make sure she didn't miss this lifetime trip. So she wore the mask for 2 months before she left. And now she's sending photos of her smiling with no mask on at, the Sistine Chapel. She's, and then she's at some, beautiful church in Sicily. And then she's having lunch with her little friends in a little Grecian town near Suda Bay. And I've never seen my mom smile like that in 15 years.
that is so glorious. God is in the miracle making business. So now you, because you've been all around the world, talk about the how you get the women, and what made you want this to be a women's project.
It just turned out that the women that I was encircling myself with were the first people, and all the relatives that joined the team were women. So my mom and my daughter being the two first, and then my nieces, my sister's twins joined the team, and then my daughter Brennan. And so because I've always worked in women-run businesses, I decided that it would just be really comfortable for me to step into that. And, I don't think of it as women are a minority. For sure. I mean, I don't think of it that way, but I do
Men say that.
women, diversity, if you have like all this diversity and women who are most of the people that are hiring us respect a woman-run business.
They do.
They do, because they know that we're going to do a great job and that we're uplifting other women that are looking for.
Isn't that what they did with the Good Old Boys Network? Now we got the good, fine girls and the ladies. And there are a lot of men that are just, they got their panties in a bunch. Oh, these women think they're going to be equal with us. I'm like, no, we don't. We don't sit and being equal with you and make me be an idiot. Why would I want to be equal to a man? I can do things like you never thought I could do, and they take it. They take it to the extreme, and it was either we get out there and support each other, and that's what I'm here for, to support each other, especially women in business. And
Right.
I have all kind of people on the show, and because I don't think we should cut anybody off. I had an 11-year-old girl on the show one time who was just a master pianist. I mean, this chick was off the chain, and she left. I think her mother told me I was like one of the first radio interviews that she did. And when she left, she said, I love you, mother love. I'm going to take this love with me wherever I go. I'm a waterhead. And I was like, move the child. Just move the child. I don't want to see her break me like this. Just move the child. And I'm telling you, it was like my own niece was going off into the world. I mean, that's the kind of connection that this baby had with me and I with her. I can learn from anybody. I can learn from children, and I can even learn from a crackhead. Okay, I know I won't do crack because I don't want to look like that. That's why I know.
Yeah.
That's what I call the internet. Because you can get so hooked on this. I call it, you ready? Electronic crack.
Oh my. Well, I think that's one of the best things about the Silicon Valley Watchdogs is we don't need to be on any social media platforms. I have a rule that you can't be on your phone when you're walking the dogs. You carry your phone for an emergency, but you're there to focus on the dogs. But on the note, what you just said about the opposite of the internet crack and all the people that are on their phones all the time, it's such a joy to be out and just be around people that love pets, because they're a little bit different actually than the people that are on, the computers all the time. I think that we all can change our mentality. And that's one thing I speak on when I travel, is to align, with your purpose and your passion, and to really know that you can make a difference if you believe you can. And the problem is a lot of people grew up in homes where people around them didn't let them know they could believe in themselves. I have a client, Dale Brunner, who has a business that, I'm helping him promote his book and some of the other parts of the platform. And he calls himself a rainbow surfer. And the reason why is because he has this whole brand about rainbow surfing that you can think about all the positive things that are going on, and you can make them happen in your mind. Like Michael Phelps, the swimmer, he used to watch himself over and over and over winning the gold medals. And in all sports, we know all of that. Here we got the Super Bowl coming up. We could talk about so many wonderful people that have great success stories that thought about it in their head for so many years and months before it actually happened. And so that's a message that I teach my team and my family and my children. And not everybody's ready for the message that, you can think something and you can have it in your mind and then it can happen. But I do believe that. And I know that because I've learned it my whole life. You mentioned your client that was a pianist. I used to be a concert pianist. I played the piano my whole life. I won the Miss Santa Monica pageant.
Now, I did know that.
I don't know if my crown is there. There it is. There's Miss California.
Okay, it's in the case?
Yeah, it's
okay.
These are my Miss California, Miss Santa Monica, and Miss Santa Clara County back in the day when I grew up here. Everybody thought I was completely crazy because I wanted to be a television broadcaster. I said, I am going to be a television broadcaster after.
Scoot over a little more. I'm only seeing half of your face.
Oh.
No, the other. There we go.
Okay. Well, anyway, okay. I was just showing you the Miss California. Let me scoot over. But the point I'm making is that since I was 5 years old, played the piano every single day. It was a gift my father gave me that also came with abuse, which is something I also talk about now. There's forgiveness all around. But back in the day, my dad used to beat us all with a stick and make us sit on the piano to play. My sister hated it, and she got in lots of fights and begged for a trombone, and then she got to take trombone. I just sat there and played the piano, and I just didn't want my dad to hit me. And so I played the piano so well. I played all through grammar school, all through high school, all through college. When I graduated and went into the Miss Santa Monica pageant, I was like, my talent is the piano. And I played this concerto, Bumblebee Boogie, that knocked 5,000 people at the Santa Monica Convention Center. Came for me. I won the pageant. But, I think about that, and I think about forgiveness, and I think about all that I've been through, because people that know that story about my dad and how challenging it was to grow up in an Irish Catholic family, they wonder how
you have to do what they tell you to do when they tell you to do it. And
yes.
I come from a half Jewish family. My grandmother on my dad's mother married when she married my grandfather. That he had just come over on the boat from Ireland.
Wow.
And he was a big, tall man with red hair. She said he had the prettiest blue eyes, and he had the gentlest.
The blue eyes. I love the blue eyes.
That was it. I'm like, what kind of weirdo? And I saw a picture of him, and I was like, isn't that a white guy? And she goes, yeah, that's your great grandfather. I was like, oh, so I come from a real colored family.
That's so great. We have the Irish.
Yeah, we have the house. We have the shamrocks. I saw the shamrock. Did you make that?
I made this in March of 2003. I painted it in one of those classes, with my kids. And gosh, my baby Brennan was born in 2003. So that was finally, my family was complete with Brittany, Evan, and then Brennan came. So my little Irish girl, we're going to be celebrating her 21st birthday at Brennan's Pub down in Marina Del Rey. So
I'll say, don't act crazy if I show up at the soiree. It has always been a joy to chat with you. I told you we could pick up right where we left off.
We sure did. Sure did. I'm really grateful for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And I'll let you know that I got breath in me. I want to thank you so much for taking your time to come and talk with us. Our love to all your furry house sitters that you get to be with every place. Just know that we are here, and just know that we love you, and you are always welcome here on the Mother Love Show. Thank you so much.
Joy. Thank you so much, Mother Love. Love you.
And I just want people to know, okay, this is where you can find Mother Love. I just want y'all to know I'm not lost. We're on at Mother Love Show on Facebook. We're at Mother Love Show on X. We're at Mother Love Show on YouTube, at The Mother Love Show on TikTok, at Mother Love Show on Instagram, and at Mother Love Show on Indeed. And I'm indeed loving this, and I'm thanking you all so much. And just remember this: no matter how big or tall, or small, thick, or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Peace, babies.